Oh, look, I have time for another one. Um, so while I do, because who knows this week when I will have time again, um, I'm trying to sew now. I'm trying to use my embroidery machine that I've had for 7 years and never used it. I used it as a sew machine, but I never learned how to use the embroidery. My own fault. Didn't read the direction manual. I read the cliff notes. Okay, it was a thick manual, but I can't find my software. Okay, that's the whole thing. So if anybody out there has a Singer Futura SES 1000 or close to that, whatever's compatible, software CD, they're like, oh, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars. But you can copy it, you know? Um, so if anybody has one and would like to make a copy of that software so I can download it on and use my embroidery because I've got to make some stuff for the baby. But um, I'm like, people have to have those. Who knew? Who knew people do that? You know what they do now? They run copies and they sell them, is what they do, because they make exact like labels, because you can get all that. I'm just thinking somebody out there is going to be nice that has this and will do a download. Let me download it, because that's the right thing to do, right? No, it's all about money. You gotta, I gotta No, but you can buy it for $50 or $60 or whatever it is. And these CDs, I had no clue. I had no clue whatsoever. Carried this thing around like it was gold. I mean, I used it as a sewing machine, but never an embroidery machine. Well, now I learned how to use it. Went to my friend's house for the weekend. She told me how to use it. I don't have the software. Can't get it working. Her software is not compatible with mine, so it's not. So I need one compatible um, with mine. But yeah, so now all my embroidery stuff, and I don't know how many times in the past I've seen all those embroidery threads and all that stuff like at auctions and stuff, and I didn't get them. I should have. Um, but now I'm going to be doing all the stuff for the baby, all the initials, and I'm excited. Now that really makes me excited. You have to understand, I have not had this. I've not had my Martha Stewart face on or my Martha Stewart hat on for many years now because when my son died, I just had no interest in it. I just lost all my desire to do all that. Well, now it's all back. All my ideas are just so I'm excited. So getting ready, and I am so excited about this baby. And I just want to tell you guys, I know that I talk about my daughter and I go back and forth and the whole Pop Tart ordeal and all that, but I just want you to know she this is all stems from the death of my son. You know, the unless you have a death of a spouse or of a child, you don't know. I gotta move here. You don't realize what that does to a family. You know, after the initial day, shock where everybody comes over, or the hoopla, really, of those first days, weeks, months. Excuse me. Everybody's life goes on. I couldn't understand why the world didn't stop because my son died. I just couldn't understand it. I didn't understand how people smiled. Why are you smiling? My son is dead. How can you smile? How can you laugh? How can you go have your picture taken when my son is dead? And that's exactly how I would look at things. Um, but at the same time, too, I instantly, what's important to you in life. House, car, stuff, stuff. It is stuff, okay? You learn what's important. But it's people when they complain, and my girlfriends would finally get me to go to lunch after 100 phone calls and just say maybe once I would go. Well, at first everybody's trying to get you busy, to get your mind off it. They try to, so the first year, probably first 6 months, first 8 months, people are trying to get you to do things, and you go, but kind of zombie-like. You go because they're making you go, not because you want to go, but because they're making you go. So you go. Um, And so they're not going to talk about the elephant in the room, your dead child or your dead spouse. Um, so they try to make light of things, and they start complaining. You know, if you're at a restaurant and they're making a joke and it's like, oh, I'm not leaving her a tip. She's the worst waitress ever. I mean, I didn't get this, I didn't get that. And they're trying to talk about anything, and they're trying to make, you know, funnies, I guess. I don't know. But what it does is it makes you all of a sudden pick your head up and look at them with that tilt and go, really? And in my mind, I'm reaching across the table, just smacking them, going, really? You're going to complain about that? Really? And I want to smack them again. You know, or they're complaining about the nail lady, how she made crooked their nails. I had no tolerance for it. None. And I tell people, if you have not lost a child or lost a, you know, a spouse, don't complain about anything. You don't have anything to complain about. Don't you ever complain about one thing, because there's nothing to complain about in this world. All is well. That loss devastates a family, because I remember hearing about people, like, I remember when I was young, and there's this woman that lived on the corner of one of the houses that we lived in, and I remember one of my neighbors saying, oh, and that lady, well, she just never comes out of the house. Like 19 years, or it was like 19 years ago, she lost her son, and she's never been the same. And she doesn't come out, she doesn't socialize. I remember that. Now I know exactly. And she's fine. You know that? That lady that everybody was sympathizing, oh, that poor thing. You know what? She's right where she wants to be. She knows what's important. So while everybody else is feeling sorry for her for staying in her home, she's feeling sorry for them because they haven't realized what's important. She just chooses. What you do is you choose quality over quantity. You know, you choose your to spend your time with people who mean something in your life. Understand that your time is spent with those people who truly are somebody in your life, not all those millions of people who are really nobody. They aren't. At the end of the day, if something happens to them, are you going to crumble? No. But you don't know that until it happens to your own. You don't. You don't know that till it happens to your own. When it does, can't even tell you. It's a trillion, zillion times worse than you could ever imagine. Ever imagine. And it does change you. Changes your priorities. Changes everything in your life. But what I didn't realize was, I didn't realize what it did to my children. While I was in my own grief, I didn't realize their grief. I knew it. I did. But I didn't know what level it was on. I didn't know how big it was. I didn't know the role that they took on. And my daughter took on a role. She had to step in and take over for me, who was grieving so horrifically. And both her and Taylor thought they had to take care of me. I thought I was taking care of them. Okay, you understand? I thought I was taking care of them, but they saw me weak, and I had always been a very strong mother, but I was broken. I was weak, and they saw that. And after a while, when I wasn't coming out of it, it was making them mad, you know, but it was festering inside. So it was festering, and I was they were festering inside, and they were getting more angry with me, the weaker that I became, because they had never seen me weak. So they started pouncing, more or less. They started talking to me worse. They started, you know, their role switched. they were mad at me. And I think at first they thought by, talking to me in that way would make me snap out of it, maybe make me angry enough where I would get up and, kick their butts like I would before. Because I'd be like, oh no, you're not talking to me that way. And it just didn't work. I just couldn't do it. But I was so scared to death that God was going to take. He took one. He could take two, or he could take three. I was so scared. But the day he died, I ran after the heart of God. I did. I thought I knew him, right? So, but I didn't, obviously, because I thought my hedge of protection was way up here, but it was way down here. Why? Because I had a foot in the world, That's what it is. I had a footing in the world. Even though I totally loved him and knew him, but I had him in my back pocket. I thought he was God. He'd always be there when I needed him. I didn't think I had to, just like we all did at some point before we knew when we knew. So I had to know him. And so from that day, I ran after the heart of God. I wanted to know for myself. I wanted him to tell me. So I did. But what was really hard was I didn't know. When you lose a child at 16, I'm telling you, it's the age of accountability. What is that age, So I prayed. But for 2 years I cried. I'm in 10 days on the couch, same clothes. I just, I just couldn't do anything. People call on the phone. I couldn't understand. I'd be like, my son's dead. Who are you? And I can't talk. And so my kids were, they were over it. But I said, Lord, you have to ease my pain. You have to ease my pain. I don't know what the age of accountability is. I know Trey did an altar call, and I know he was baptized and he believed in you, but he was 16. He was doing what other 16-year-olds do. Where is he? I don't have a receipt. It's not daycare. It's not something. I don't have a receipt for my child. Where is my child? As a parent, that worry doesn't stop. So after 2 years of praying, Lord, ease my pain. Please, Lord. He took me to it was in Deuteronomy or Numbers. I don't remember which one, but right there, opened it up. Bam, Moses in the desert, telling the Israelites, those that are 20 and above must die with those out in the desert because they are accountable. The ones under the age of 20 are not accountable. A boy is not a man till the age of 20. A girl is not a woman to the age of 20. Right there, that tells me that age of accountability is that. Now, again, there might be many ages. There might be many, times in our lives that we reach accountable stages. You know what I'm saying? It's just not an age of accountability. I think there's accountable stages that we go through. And I'm sure he goes by our mind, the mental capacity of people and all of that he takes into. If we have that compassion, for them, we get it from him. How much more does he have? Of course he goes through all that. But anyway, and that was his answer to me, and that eased my pain. That eased my heart. That was it. So I know where he is now. I do know where he is. But my children, I did not know how devastated they were and what this did to them. I knew of course they lost their brother, but I was the mother. Okay, I was the mother. I could not see how it affected them. Till this day it affects them. Till this day it affects them. They each lost their favorite sibling. Do you understand? Trey was Tara's favorite. Trey was Taylor's favorite. That's why my two children, 31, 21, bam. Okay? So my daughter, though, she has to take over, and she did. I will tell you, she did. She took over everything. And she got mad at me. She got mad at me for being so weak when she needed me to be strong, but I couldn't see it. Couldn't see it. Oh, couldn't see it. I'm gonna tell you this. when I realized this, I pulled my tube socks up, put my boots on again, and I said, there's a new sheriff in town. I said, I ain't gonna have this anymore. I had to get that authority back. You know? But see, I had let them down. I let them down. I had never been a weak mother, and they weren't sure about me. They weren't sure that they could trust me like they had, because all my children, I will tell you, believed everything I've ever told them their whole life. Everything, because I always had an answer for them, even if I didn't know. I gave my children an answer about everything. I was. So the woman who's had an answer for them for everything now can't even speak. How devastating was that for them? How devastating was that for them? So then, you know, they couldn't trust me. They couldn't trust that ollie ollie in free anymore that I was. I was there, you know, where they're ollie ollie in free. And so we're their safe base, and you know, so that anger just doesn't go away when we want it to. It doesn't go away. I will tell you this. If you're a parent, children cannot stand to see a weak parent. They cannot stand to see a parent cry. They cannot stand to see their parent weak. They don't need that. There's enough weakness around them. They need strength. And no matter how, at times it's hard, you know, you can't be weak to your children. You can't be somebody that that they have to mentally take care of. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't know if you know, that's how they start. You know, we all every kid's raised differently. I'm just saying, I've always been a strong parent. And I'm going to tell you, I don't care if my kids get mad at me. You can be mad at me all you want. I know they love me, but they have to hear, and that's what's wrong with the world today. That's exactly what's wrong with the world today. Everybody's feelings are too hurt. Their parents don't want to hurt their feelings. Well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that, but sorry about you, you know? So her friends, I can tell the ones whose parents don't stick up for them are when they get to be like past 18 or 20, you know, the parents step back and let them just, well, I'm sorry. I'm your parent. I will always mother you. I will always parent you. So don't come to me if you don't want to know, because I'm going to tell you. And I'm not going to keep my mouth shut. But you know what? I will tell you this. She turns around and I hear the words out of her mouth are my words. And I'll say, boy, that. She goes, stop. I know I sound just like you. See, she is me. She's me. All that. She can fight all she wants. But she's getting it. She's getting it. They just fight it on the way. You know, she's got anxiety all of a sudden. And both her and my son both have tremendous anxiety. She never had. I never had. I mean, I never noticed it. And it's, off the charts. It's from my son's death. And it's from, they had nobody. I mean, they did. I was there. Don't get me wrong. I never left the house, right? I'm there. I'm all involved in everything. But that tower of strength that they had seen, when they looked at me, they saw I was broken. You understand? They saw my heart was broken. I was broken. I had no joy. So they couldn't stand to look at me because that's what they saw. So they couldn't lean on me. They couldn't come to me. They couldn't, you know, because I wasn't standing strong. So they lost their footing. You understand? They lost their footing. And it's taken a while for them to get it back. It's taken a while for them to get it back. And it just happened that, you know, when I came back, I mean, we're right here, and it all comes out in different ways. It all comes out in different ways. But the healing has been I see it. It's incredible. So when I share these things about her with you, I just want you to know what this is. And she felt she didn't have anybody, that she was alone. And she had to trust me again. She had to be able to fully trust me again. And she had to know that I was strong. You know, although I have been for a very long time, she just was standing in that safe spot. You know, when I said in another video that people go through stuff that makes them feel, you know, she felt scared. She felt she didn't have anybody. And so she had, and she's always had me. I've always been there for everything. So when she didn't have me, she had to learn to live, um, you know, in a world where um, she had to make it work, and she had to fight these fears. She had to do all this stuff, and this mother that she had always known, you know, was no longer her strength, and that crushed her. It crushed her, you know. So, and that started the war between her and my son. Okay? Because then she thought she was the boss. Because she got the strength, but it was a false strength. It was a scared strength. And you know, anybody who shows strength not from knowledge or not from wisdom, but are not in experience, but when they show strength from fear, it's the worst kind. It's the worst kind because it's a bully fear, right? It's a bully strength, and that's what it was. So hence, bing, ba-bong, 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 ba-bong. So I had to fight both of these kids to get my footing back. I mean, to get my respect back. I did. I had to get it back. 'Cause they were mad. They were mad at me. They were mad at me. They felt like they lost their brother and lost their mom. Although, as I said, I, you know, came back. But see, when I did during this time, like I said, when I ran for the Lord, and I'm studying and learning everything I can, I'm being more quiet. I'm learning how to fight differently because I'm learning how to fight in the spirit. But they didn't understand that. I wasn't verbal like I used to be, right? You know, more verbal. I learned I was really trying to live and walk in the spirit. So they just took that as weakness still. And I'm telling you, I had to battle this, and I'd say, don't think I'm weak at all. You know, I'm stronger than I've ever been. But it took years for them to see that strength in me again, because it was a new strength. It wasn't the old strength that I had. Because see, I was strong in me, but now I'm strong in the Lord. And there's a difference, okay? So it's that quiet strength. You know, it's not that I can save the world's strength. I can save anybody's strength in the flesh strength. And that's what they were used to seeing. So when I started walking in the spirit strength, they couldn't recognize it. So they still thought I was weak. So that's why they pounced for so long. Understand? So don't be a weak parent, and don't let your, I don't care, don't let your kids do that. Don't let your kids see that. They can't take it. They cannot take it. Cannot take it. You know, I had never had anybody die in my life. I mean, my parents, but nobody ever. My child. So I just wanted to share that with you and tell you that's why. So she does. She's got a wonderful heart. She really does. She's my mini-me, I'm telling you. But oh, she was mad, so mad. She had to know that she can always depend on me. She can always come to me because I'm here. And although I've been here for years now, but I mean, I didn't realize what that did to her. You know, what that did. She still wasn't going to do it all the whole way, because what about if I broke again? Because she never thought I'd break. She never thought I'd break. She never thought I'd crumble. But it did. It did. You know. So, you might want to think about something like that. You know, if you've gone through the same thing. But understand, life's changed. Everything changes. Your finances, I mean, your everything. Everything. A death does so much. You just don't bounce back. You just, you know, think of the lady who's been in the house for 19 years. You know, she could have had a totally productive life. I mean, work-wise, outside the, you know, I don't know what kind of life she had, but I'm saying, and they're telling me her life didn't change. And some, they just robotically, mechanically keep moving because they don't want to stop. Because if they stop, they have to face it and they'll crumble. So they just go nonstop 24/7. And I don't think that's good either. You know, I don't think that's good either. Okay. Just had to share that with you. So you understand. Um, you understand. She's gonna be a wonderful mother. You know, loves this baby beyond anything. And she loves me. She really does. She loves me. And but that's why we go through this. That's why. It's been a long 10 years. But I didn't see it. I didn't know it. I didn't really know it. I do. Okay. Love you. See you soon. And if you want to, also, I'm so sorry. You know, I made a Facebook page. Can you hear me now? Friend of Heaven. If anybody wants to come in and join. And there's groups in there. There's prayers and there's studies, and there's just I need a friend place. So if you ever want to go there, feel free. Or to the blog. Can you hear me now? It's at mbj8388.wordpress.com. Feel free to go there too. Okay? Love you. See you soon.